wellness information and things that are happening here at LifeWave. As we all know, there is never a dull moment. There are so many exciting things happening. June was another incredible month of seeing the global impact that you and LifeWave products and opportunity are having around the world. It's hard to believe we're already into July, but there's so much coming up here over the next few months. So make sure you stay tuned every month to these product webinars. In June, we saw an exciting product launch with Cellular Morning, going live in the US. The demand and excitement has already exceeded our expectations, and we are currently working on the rollout plan to get this product into other regions and markets around the world, so stay tuned. We also recently completed a beautiful trip in Switzerland with some of our brand partner leaders. Congratulations to all that attended, and thank you for the impact that you continue to have on LifeWave and lives around the world. Another reminder, conference is coming up close, just a few months away. As you know, this is going to be the largest gathering in LifeWave's history. There's going to be amazing world-class entertainment, product announcements, trainings, opportunity trainings that you won't want to miss. It is continuing to fill up fast. We will reach capacity before this event, so make sure you go online and register. But back to the reason that you all came here today, we're going to continue our product and wellness discussion with some incredible information from none other than our founder and chairman, David Schmidt. So if you do have questions, as David is teaching and inspiring all of us, go ahead and put it in the chat. We're going to do our best to answer some, if not most of those questions following David's presentation. And with that, I'm excited and honored to welcome David Schmidt. David, thank you so much.
Wayne, wonderful to see you.
You as well. I'm excited for another discussion, and I know the topic, and I'm excited to learn more. It's something that I know has an incredible impact on our wellness, and it's something that I probably don't know enough about.
Well,
very excited.
You may get more information than you wanted to today, but that's okay. We'll go through it, and it's recorded. I do want to take a moment and thank all of the leaders that won the incentive trip to Switzerland and France. It was absolutely incredible to spend time with these amazing people. We had a lot of fun. We had some fun together doing some meetings, talking about what's going on the rest of the year, and also what's coming in our future, what our product looks like over the next couple of years. And in addition, of course, we had time to celebrate all of the successes here at LifeWave. So I do want to thank and congratulate all of the leaders that won the incentive trip to Switzerland and France. Congratulations. It was amazing spending time with all of you. Well, the topic tonight is the connection between hydration and aging. And if you think this might be a little bit boring, well, it's everything far from that. First, let me appeal to your vanity by saying that one of the things that you're going to be able to learn today is how to reduce lines and wrinkles, how to look younger by improving the hydration levels in your body. We're going to be talking about a number of connections here. The other thing that we're going to be discussing is, I want to take the moment to remind everyone that I'm not a medical doctor and I'm not making medical advice. If you have a serious health condition, you should speak with your doctor and get recommendations from them. So we're simply just presenting information here that can be of help to you. But we're going to look at some remarkable things. We're going to look at how water has been used in the treatment of diseases like cancer. We're also going to be looking at how hydration can reduce the risk of heart disease. Seems incredible, but it's actually true. There's good evidence for that. And we're not making any product claims here. The important thing that you're going to walk away with today is the understanding of the connection between hydration and aging and how to correct for this. There's actually a number of things that you can start doing to become visibly younger and also have more energy and decrease your risks for disease. And we're going to tie this into a number of things. So let's go ahead and get started. And by the way, I am here in Denmark, and I want to remind everyone in Denmark that air conditioning was invented in 1902. And in those 120 years, we didn't get air conditioning in Denmark. So right now it's very hot. If you see me sweating and losing water, I'm going to be drinking water frequently because we're having a hot summer here in Denmark and just depending on some airflow to keep things cool. Okay, so let's talk about what happens as we age so we can correct for this. Cosmetically, Most people don't want to have lines and wrinkles. They want to look young. They want to feel young. And so it becomes very obvious when we look at someone in their 60s, 70s, 80s, that you can see a breakdown in the skin. Now, collagen is the most abundant protein in the body. And as we age, a few very important things happen. First, collagen structures begin to break down. This is a phenomenon called cross-linking, where the collagen is attacked by oxidative and inflammatory stress. Sadly, between the ages of 20 and 25, the amount of collagen that our body produces begins to decrease. So in a way, you could say in our 20s, we already start the aging process. And of course, with less collagen and the collagen breaking down, this means that our bodies are not going to be able to hold on to enough water. Collagen is a triple helix which holds water, and that means the total amount of water in the body decreases. This impacts the function of the mitochondria. Now the mitochondria produces less energy. And if you could picture this, if you could see this wrinkled hand on the right, that's what's happening to all of the organs in the body as well. The brain is shrinking, the kidneys, liver are shrinking. So what we see externally is a reflection of what's going on internally. These are really important concepts because once you understand this, you can be looking at aging from a different perspective and then taking action to correct and reverse this with the technology we have today. Okay, so let's take a look at this because some of this information might be relatively shocking. And what I mean by that is that just becoming dehydrated is linked to any number of different acute and chronic conditions. So in other words, when you're dehydrated, it can increase your risk of heart disease. It can decrease your cognitive function. So we can take a look at this study, but the conclusion is dehydration in older people is associated with increased mortality, more likely to die when you're dehydrated, poor course of illness, and increased costs for health services, also linked to poor cognitive performance. So right off the bat, just by looking at this first study, we can see that there's a pretty good reason why we want to stay hydrated. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is actually not to show you an article on the link between hydration and aging. And what's interesting, this is from the National Institutes of Health. But they're linking hydration and aging through this mechanism of higher concentrations of blood sodium, which is associated with increased mortality, again, chronic disease risk and biological aging. The reason to show this to you is that there are many ways to look at the problem. So it's true, as we become dehydrated, the concentration of electrolytes in the body changes. But I wouldn't say, based on the work that we've done, that that's the true link between hydration and aging. I'm going to explain it this way. And I don't think I've ever heard another scientist or inventor or doctor talk about it in exactly this way. But think about it this way. We have the cells in your body, and when you're young, they're nice and full and vibrant and charged with electrical energy because there's electrolytes inside and outside the cell. Now, about the age of 20 to 25, the amount of collagen we produce begins to decrease. Over time, the cells in the body begin to shrink. Now, here's the important part. Collagen makes up what's called the cytoskeleton. So in other words, the gel that holds all of the organelles in the cell together is collagen protein, and collagen protein is holding the water in the cell. And as collagen production decreases over time, the cells shrink. Now, when the cells are shrinking, the electrical charge around the cell decreases. And this is important because as the cells divide, it's the electrical charge on the outside of the cell that adds energy over to the DNA during replication. So in other words, the charge on the cell membrane is linked to changes in the DNA, and in particular, gene expression. This is all to say that if we can keep the cells hydrated, or if we can reverse the process and increase collagen in the cell and increase hydration, we can reverse biological aging. That is really, really important. And the way that we do that, of course, is important. So some scientists look at this problem of hydration and aging one way, others look at it differently. All of these statements are true. It's just the perspective that we look at them from. And the perspective is important because it helps us design solutions. Okay, another article here on the connection between age and dehydration. But older adults, no surprise, are at greater risk of dehydration because of how body composition changes with age. And again, I would say this is linked to decrease in collagen, which is linked to the decreasing ability of your body to hold water. But of course, there are signs of dehydration. And for those of you, especially because it's the summer, you're looking to lose a little bit of extra weight. If you're going on a fast or calorie restriction or ketogenic diet, whatever it might be, many times when we feel hungry, it's really that our bodies are thirsty. We're craving water. So if you get a hunger pain, try drinking more water, and that might resolve it. Okay, now, unlocking cellular vitality. So we talked about the connection between the amount of collagen in the cell and hydration and how that changes with aging. But what's also important here is that we need water for the mitochondria to make energy. We need water for the body to eliminate toxins. So the mitochondria is going to produce energy, and just like a car, it produces waste. And we need water to help carry the waste out of the cell. So this is to say over time, and by the time most people get to be about age 50, they experience what's called mitochondrial dysfunction, meaning the powerhouse or power plant of the cell is not producing as much energy. And sometimes the answer to this is improving the hydration of the cell. Okay, yet another article and study on adult dehydration. This is really, again, just for the purpose of having you understand how important it is to stay hydrated, and that over time it's going to become more challenging. And we need to have a strategy, because if you don't have a strategy and implement the strategy for addressing this, it's going to take care of itself over time, meaning by the time you get into your 50s and 60s, you're in a chronic state of dehydration. So we have to have a plan to reverse this, and we're going to be talking about this. But dehydration in adults is clinically significant condition, again, caused by imbalance between fluid intake and loss, etc. Okay? Now, the cellular hydration state, critical determinant for cell death and survival. So again, here's a different way of looking at the problem, but simply saying that we're so dependent, and this is not going to come as a surprise, but we're so dependent on water for energy production that if we lack it, it can lead to cell death. So this is pretty serious business. Okay, now we know heart disease is the #1 killer. And many times on LifeWave Connect, I've had the opportunity to speak about a number of natural ways of treating and reversing heart disease. These are recommendations that if you're suffering with heart disease, high blood pressure, you can take these recommendations to your doctor, but they're natural materials such as the amino acid taurine, which is more effective than drugs at reducing blood pressure. Potassium, which helps improve the elasticity of the arteries. Vitamin D, vitamin K2, which helps remove arterial plaque, helps to remove calcium buildup, and is going to move that calcium over into the bones. Magnesium to help decrease blood pressure. Nattokinase to decrease blood pressure, just going off the top of my head. But here, other than all those nutrients that you can take, water. Simple dehydration now is being linked to high blood pressure and cardiovascular disease. So here we have something simple that people can do to help reduce their risk of heart disease. Of course, it's not the only thing, but it shows that it's an important component. All right, now we've talked a lot about the connection between hydration and aging and hydration and disease. So we like to focus on natural solutions here at LifeWave. So what are some of the things that you can do to improve the hydration of the cell? When we improve the hydration of the cell, that means we're going to reduce the appearance of lines and wrinkles, so you get a cosmetic benefit. Your body makes more energy, so your athletic performance improves. The amount of energy that you have during the day improves. You detoxify better. So there's all sorts of benefits to this. So the first approach that we're going to take, and I am going to be mentioning X2O, by the way, but the first thing that I'm going to make reference to is collagen, because we can be drinking more water, but if we don't increase the amount of collagen in the cell, our body won't be able to hold on to that water. So if you go off this webinar tonight and you say, okay, I'm going to start drinking more water, that's fantastic. But you also need a strategy for increasing collagen. So we think of collagen like Jello. Jello holds water, right? That's collagen. And the reason for this is that collagen has a triple helix structure. So collagen is made of predominantly 3 amino acids. It's proline, hydroxyproline, and glycine. And there are sites on collagen that allow it to hold water and give it its properties. Collagen also has a considerable amount of strength. Let's see if there was an image here I can pull up. Collagen also has an incredible amount of strength, and as a result, it's used to support the internal structure of the cell. Okay, thought there was a picture here. No, not on this page. That's not going to help you at all. Okay, we'll go on to the next one. So collagen and dehydration. And what's important is that collagen as a protein can be attacked by oxidative and inflammatory stress. So this is a phenomena in the skin that's called cross-linking. And this decreases the elasticity of the skin. And of course, we see this as lines and wrinkles. So in addition to looking at how to increase collagen production in the body, another thing that we want to look at is how to protect the collagen so it's going to be able to do its job and hold water. Okay, collagen, again, accounts for about 30% of the protein in your body. What about taking collagen supplements? Yes, this is perfectly fine. If you want to have a strategy where you're going to say, well, if my body's not making enough collagen over time, what about if I replace it? That is totally a viable strategy. And for those of you that may have loss of cartilage, let's say that you lost cartilage in your knee, in your shoulder, somewhere in your joints, collagen protein can rebuild that lost cartilage. We found out a number of years ago, we worked with Dr. Bernd Friedlander, a wonderful guy. Haven't seen him in many years now, but he was doing work with the San Francisco 49ers football team. And he had a special type of beef collagen that he gave to the football players, and they regrew lost cartilage. What we found out years later is that glutathione and vitamin C stimulated the production of cartilage. So in other words, let's say that you have loss of cartilage in your knee. You could put the glutathione patch on the outside, the Eon patch on the inside of the knee, so they're parallel to one another. You take a collagen supplement, take a vitamin C supplement, and we've seen people regrow the cartilage in those joints. That's just a healthy, happy tip tonight. All right, so collagen supplements for aging and wrinkles. This is something that's been around for a lot of years now. There's different types of collagen supplements, obviously, that are on the market. I'll let you do your own research on that. But this is just, again, simply to say that's one potential strategy. This was some additional information on how loss of collagen affects aging in all of the tissues in the body. You can just have it here for your reference if you want to go through it another time. But let's take a moment to talk about X2O. So water is a liquid crystal, and we can see the crystal structure of water in the beauty of a snowflake. When we take regular water and we freeze it, we see that there's no definable structure that appears in the ice. There doesn't seem to, it's not a beautiful crystal like you might see with quartz, for example. However, if we're able to create a structured water product, and this simply means that we create water into a crystal, and this crystal forms a repeating pattern in the water. So crystals are highly organized repeating structures. If we can do that with water, now we see that when we freeze the water, there are definable patterns. And when water takes on a structure, it decreases the surface tension, changes the electrical properties, which are measurable, and now the water is able to penetrate the cell more easily, and this increases the hydration of the cell. So one of the benefits of X2O that we found is that in less than 15 seconds of drinking this water, people started to notice a change, and these changes were measurable bioelectrically. We, of course, found that there were changes in the blood and also metabolic changes in the urine. So protein synthesis went up. But this is simply to say that the X2O water can get into the cell more efficiently and hydrate you better than regular water. So that's one of the benefits of X2O. Now, of course, there are other structured water products that are on the market. Going back to the 1960s and 1970s, I remember growing up seeing John Willard on TV on 60 Minutes. And Dr. Willard had invented something he called Willard water, funny enough. But this was a structured water product, and this product could help support healing. So there are other structured water products on the market. The difference with X2O is that it's the only water in the world that can embed specific photons of light so that when you drink the water, light is released inside of the body. And there's no other light therapy technology like this. Now, when we're talking about structured water, there have been a number of studies on this looking at what the effects are. And you'll find in the scientific community that many scientists will say, well, there's nothing to this at all. Structured water doesn't exist. There's no such thing. But yet you do studies on animals and people. And in fact, you find that there are measurable biological effects. And that is very self-evident. We've done 6 clinical studies now on X2O with over 250 people, and we see measurable biological effects. Okay. Here's another study, and I'm just going to go through this quickly now so we can get to some questions. Water structure, properties, applications. This is a very, very interesting article. There's a ton of information here, but it gives you information into some of the unusual properties of water. So, for example, we all know that when most materials go into a solid state, they shrink. But with water, when it freezes and turns into a solid, it expands. So water has some very unusual properties. Now, I mentioned before, I was going to tell you about how water is being used to treat disease like cancer. And there's a specific type of water called light water or deuterium-depleted water. And here's another study on orthomolecular hydration therapy or using structured water. But basically, in deuterium-depleted water, in normal water, there's 80 to 120 parts per million deuterium. In deuterium-depleted water, about 10 or 20 parts per million. And what was discovered is that the presence of deuterium would slow down the mitochondria, so decrease the energy in the cell. So what's found is that you give deuterium-depleted water, so pure water, to a cancer patient. Now they can make energy more efficiently, and the cancer begins to disappear. Okay, what about some other ways of making collagen, protecting collagen? Well, if you're using X39, you're already getting one of these benefits. And if you have a healthy diet and you're getting these amino acids in your diet, glycine, lysine, if you're getting enough copper daily, then that means you have all the raw materials to make GHKCU. But it has been found that copper peptide increases collagen production and elastin production in the cell. So we started out a little bit earlier by saying one of the things we can do to improve hydration, which improves longevity, improves our health, is increase collagen. And here we go. X39, by elevating copper peptide, increases collagen and elastin production in the cell. Vitamin C, I mentioned this a little bit earlier. Vitamin C will help to signal the body to make collagen. It's a shame that more medical doctors don't know this and recommend it. But vitamin C can be used to help support our health, help support collagen production, and in the case of loss of cartilage, can help to manufacture cartilage. And then finally, glutathione. So glutathione stimulates collagen production, and because it's an antioxidant, also protects collagen. So if you're using Cellergize and you'll have cysteine that's in Cellergize, or if you take an NAC supplement, then you'll have the raw material to make glutathione. Of course, if you're using X39 and or the glutathione patch, you're increasing the body's levels of glutathione. And many years ago, we even did a study with 2 medical doctors in Australia showing that glutathione, carnosine, and eon increased collagen production and decreased lines and wrinkles. Many people just using the glutathione patch notice that it's decreasing lines and wrinkles. And of course, now you know that not only are you getting the cosmetic benefit, but you're improving your body's ability to stay hydrated. And it's also having these very powerful anti-aging effects. So Wayne, this is all to say that when we talk about a subject that sounds very simple on the top, okay, yeah, we know we should drink more water, we know we should stay hydrated, but the real message here is that by drinking the right type of water, by taking the correct nutrients and using the correct technology to elevate collagen production in the cell, this has very, very far-reaching effects on our overall health. And of course, we don't make any claims about preventing disease, but the literature clearly says this. I'll wait for Wayne to come back on. It was just an interesting question. Does juice improve hydration? And in fact, watermelon juice has a number of benefits. I love to take, after I travel, you lose a lot of water being on an airplane. Get some watermelon juice. It's very hydrating. Watermelon juice also contains citrulline. Citrulline elevates nitric oxide, and that helps improve your energy as well. So, Wayne, I hope you found that interesting. And I know it was a lot of slides to go through, but people can go back and look at those references on the replay.
Yes, David, this was more than just interesting. This was truly inspiring. And I think the last statement you made, unfortunately has described me in times past of, hearing that it's important to be hydrated, especially around sports activities and fitness and things like that. But I truly did not understand how foundational this is to our overall health. Its potential impact of dehydration on so many other health issues. So, I'm walking away from this, as I'm already very excited about the products, but even more committed to make sure that this is a part of my whole wellness routine. And I know that that's probably the same for all of us. So thank you for sharing this information. You touched on the juice, and I would love if you can go a little bit deeper. Some of the questions on, it's not just about getting fluids. It's about getting the right fluids. There's so much, even if it's Diet Coke with no calories or coffee or things like that it's not just about getting fluids, but it's the right fluids. Do you mind sharing a little more on that?
We can take every opportunity during the day to turn our diet into a healing experience. So one of the things that I like to promote is consumption of olives, organic olives, and also extra virgin organic olive oil, because it has a ridiculous number of benefits. So for example, if you're going to have vegetables or steak or chicken, fish, add some organic olive oil onto it, because olive oil will help to express GLP-1, so it's good for weight loss. It helps to balance out the cholesterol levels. It's anti-inflammatory, and it's even shown to be more powerful than resveratrol at activating 2 of the sirtuin genes, which are associated with longevity. So foods can be a healing experience if we choose to. So the same is true for with the subject of hydration. There are certainly benefits to drinking things like green tea and coffee, but in moderation. So for example, the extract of green tea has been shown to help prevent the spread of cancer cells in the body. And there's a specific formula for that, actually. It's the amino acid lysine, proline, vitamin C, and green tea extract. This was shown by Matthias Rath as being able to not kill cancer, but prevent cancer from spreading from one part of the body to another. Green tea, of course, is loaded with antioxidants. Coffee has antioxidants. Caffeine, try to stay away from it. But this is to say, when we're thinking about the subject of hydration, we should have a plan. So drinking the right water, getting enough electrolytes. It's one of the reasons why we put electrolytes in the Cellular morning and evening formula. And of course, X2O, big benefit to that is that it's going to be phenomenal at hydrating the body. And when people start to drink X2O, they're going to notice that they detox very rapidly from that too. So I don't know if that answered the question, but that would be one take on it. It's an enormous subject.
Yeah, it is an enormous subject, and that did answer the question. And not only is it important to get the right fluids, but you mentioned the right water, and that is something that's so important, especially with the forthcoming launch of X2O. It's not just about getting water. That, as you say, turning our diet into a healing experience. That even regular water, there's the potential to have some adverse effects because of things that have been put in our water. If it's not filtered right, if it's not the right water, and so that's one of the reasons I'm so excited about X2O getting out into the market. Another question that came up pretty frequently is how do you test how dehydrated or hydrated you are? You mentioned hunger, as a physiological indicator potentially of dehydration. Is there any other way we can know or judge whether we're getting enough or not enough?
Yes, but the test is not generally available. So there's a piece of equipment that we started using back in 2005 called an RJL. And so if you look online, you see that this is available. And we had an early version of the RJL, and this would actually measure the cell capacitance, so it could tell how big the cells are, what the electrical charge is, and also the ability of the cell to remove toxins. So this is one method. However, what's interesting is that the FDA now prohibits this company from using the machine to measure hydration levels in the cell. It's absolutely ridiculous, but now this company is no longer able to do that. There's also dark field microscopy, and this definitely is widely available. You have to find a doctor that will do it, but you'll take a small blood sample and it will show you under the microscope the health and the vitality of the cells. So it's one measure, which is a good measure. I really like the RJL because it quantifies the level of hydration. So those are two methods. Those are two methods that are possible, but they're generally not available to most people.
Yeah, for those that maybe don't have access to some of these tests, is there, again, a recommended amount that's better just to make sure that we're getting enough? What is kind of the right, on average, amount of water we need to fully hydrate and to stay healthy?
Yeah, so that's going to depend on age, supplements people are taking, are they smoking? I would definitely discourage the use of alcohol. Alcohol every once in a while, I suppose it's okay, but I would really discourage alcohol on a daily basis because it has so many disastrous effects on the human body, including dehydration. So it really depends. A person's need for water is going to be highly dependent on their diet and other factors. So as a rule of thumb, I would say if someone was shooting for 2 liters per day of water, that might not be a bad place to start, provided that the water is clean. So if you're going to use water from a tap, make sure you're sending it through 1 or 2 stages of filtration. And of course, we have filters in X2O. And they're designed to remove heavy metals, the forever chemicals, microplastics, pesticides, herbicides. So you'll want to use filtration in your home. Chlorine, of course, you want to get out of your water. Fluoride's really difficult. There are some specialized filters on the market for removing fluoride. But yeah, it's super important just to be drinking water that's completely clean.
So obviously, consuming the water is one step in the process, but as it relates to absorption, you mentioned Cellergize, you mentioned having the right water. There's been a couple of questions about mineral salt or some other potential things to add. If you're doing 2 glasses of the X2O water per day, and then you have filtered water for your other consumption, you obviously are going to take Cellergize once in the morning, once in the evening, or there's some other things we can do to help with the absorption process.
Yeah. So one of the biggest things is reduction in stress. And of course, we have the Eon patch to help manage stress. Also, when we come out a little bit later this year with the evening formula, this is going to be life changing for so many people because of the way that it helps to reduce stress and manage stress. Um, when we reduce stress, it has this perhaps unexpected effect on improving hydration in the body because it improves everything else. But the reason why the evening formula is going to be so powerful is that first it was designed to complement Silent Night's Alavita, the Eon patch, people that want to use our patches in the evening. So it's very different philosophically than the morning formula. So the evening formula helps to put you into a state of relaxation. I'm not making any medical claims. And I think what I would say is that people that have hypertension, people have high blood pressure, when they use the evening formula, they may see that they get a reduction in their blood pressure. They'd want to work with their medical doctor, especially if they're taking heart medication, to pay attention to this. But the other benefit is that the ingredients in Cellergize, such as magnesium, taurine, and theanine, all reduce stress. And we know that stress is going to break down the collagen, and collagen is what's holding on to the water. So when we reduce our stress levels, we inadvertently improve the state of hydration in the cell. And of course, there's a number of important consequences to that, which are immensely beneficial. There's probably a lot of other things that I'd like to say, but they would end up being disease claims, so I'll avoid that. But it will really become self-evident. I'd say if people have been having a problem sleeping, when they use the evening formula, they'll really be surprised at how dramatically their sleep improves, even if they've been using Silent Nights, Eon, or Alavita.
Yeah, we're also excited, just looking at the chat here, we're also excited to be able to combine the X2O with Cellergize, with the patches. There are some people that are newer in some of the chat. And do you mind just taking a moment? I know that this can be an hour-long question here as well, but just touching on the many stages, the dual stages of the X2O machine through filtration and light infusion. Do you mind just giving an overview for some of the newer people here today?
Absolutely. And, this is probably a good time to say that Wayne and I will be doing a session on X2O together at the upcoming conference in October. We had one at last year's conference. And by the way, last year, we didn't tell anybody, but as a gift to our brand partners for an amazing 20 years, celebrating our 20th anniversary, we surprised everyone with this incredible 800 drone show, the Blues Brothers, Gwen Stefani, and Maroon 5, and it was an amazing, plus great guest speakers. It was an amazing conference, and this year, I think we might be able to top that. But when you come to conference, we have the time to get into the detail on questions like this. But simply, you're going to add regular tap water, or if you wanted to add distilled water or spring water to X2O, that's all fine. First, you go through a primary stage of filtration in X2O. And this primary stage of filtration is going to remove heavy metals, pesticides, herbicides, microplastics, the forever chemicals, chlorine. Then the water goes through a second stage to further reduce any contaminants. The first stage is removing over 98% of the contaminants, but we have a second stage. And then we also infuse hydrogen into the water, and there's oxygen in the water as well. And the reason for this is the process that I discovered was that there was a way to treat water with 6 different wavelengths of light. So the photons of light would get trapped in coherent domains in water, so that now after it goes through this process in these 2 treatment chambers inside of X2O, when you hit the touch screen to dispense the water into a glass, now you drink light inside the body. So this is an entirely new way of applying light therapy to the human body. The patches stimulate the skin with light, and X2O delivers light inside of the body.
Thank you, David, for that. There's many questions also about when some of the launches are going to be happening and the rollout. And I may just say, make sure that you're visiting these on a monthly basis. Make sure you're watching your email over the next few months. And for more detailed information and exciting launch announcements, make sure that you are at conference. David, we're coming up to the top of the hour here, but there's so many people thanking you for this incredible information that I know that this is going to change the lives of not only all of us that are on this call here today, but as we all go out and share this incredible information, it's going to change not only our daily routines, but ultimately our health. And on behalf of all of us, just want to thank you again for helping all of us at LifeWave to stay at the forefront of health and wellness, for taking time out of your busy schedule with all you do to share these incredible insights and great research and information with us. And I'll just turn it back to you to see if there's any final thoughts that you'd like to leave us with.
Oh, thank you, Wayne. I really appreciate that. And, we wouldn't have a company if it wasn't for our amazing brand partners who are taking our products every day and changing people's lives across the world. It's absolutely incredible to see this. With regards to X2O, we have had delays in getting this to market because we've had to tweak some of the sensors in the machine and make sure that everything is perfect when we go to market. So my apologies, it's taken us longer than we had planned, but we're certainly in the home stretch now in getting this out to market. So you'll be hearing about it shortly. We have an amazing next couple of months that are coming out. We just had this incentive trip for our leaders in June, and we're getting ready to have another incentive trip in August where we're going to unveil our home power generation unit. And for those of you that haven't been to our home office in Utah, please take time to go and visit our welcome center, because you'll see a number of the technologies that we have coming out in the future. And one of them is our home power generation system, which is going to completely redefine the network marketing industry. And this is really important because I would not have the amazing life that I have today if it wasn't for our community. And my intention is to continue to invent new products and continue to expand our opportunity. So we're the biggest and the best network marketing company in the world. And we treat the relationship between the company and our brand partners as something that's very sacred. So I know there's a lot of changes that are going on in the network marketing industry today. And I think this is just all to say that we think of the relationship with our brand partners from a completely different perspective. We're here for you. We're grateful for everything that you do. We want to build this into an enormous company so we can help as many people as possible. And we're fully committed to the channel and redefining what it means to be a network marketing business. So with that, thank you all for being here today. It's been an absolute pleasure. Really enjoy spending time with all of you. Hope that you have a wonderful summer with your families. Please take time to rest and enjoy, and may God bless you and your families. And thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening.